The NBA's first significant in-season trade is done, with OG Anunoby headed from the north to the Big Apple, and Immanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett going the other way. Anunoby may have been the best player involved in the deal, but this trade has the potential to be a win-win for the Knicks and Raptors. Who would have thought the season's first big deal would see an agreement reached between two teams currently embroiled in a legal battle? For a Knicks team closer to contention than the Raptors were, Anunoby's a perfect fit. The 26-year-old forward is a star in his role as an all-world defender and spot-up shooter, a connective piece who fits seamlessly within any roster construct. That the Knicks acquired OG while getting off RJ's contract and breaking up the Barrett-Julius Randle pairing is icing on the cake. New York was never sniffing a championship while paying both Randle and Barrett, two high-volume, poor shooters prone to bouts of tunnel vision and inconsistent defense. Randle had clearly established himself as something closer to a secondary star than Barrett, and Anunoby should complement Randle and star guard Jalen Brunson better than Barrett did. It's also a pretty safe bet that the pending unrestricted free agent will remain in New York. OG is a client of the agency Knicks president Leon Rose once worked for, CAA. Rose's son is Anunoby's agent, and the Knicks have already stockpiled CAA clients, on the court and the sidelines.
You certainly have a type.
It's not all roses for the Knicks though. Pardon the pun. Losing Quickley hurts on several fronts. The up-tempo guard gave the plodding Knicks a different gear off the bench. And in replacing Quickley and Barrett with Anunoby, the Knicks now have a lot less self-creation. They're still another impact player away from full-blown contention, but they also might have just moved their best trade chip in Quickley. And assuming they re-sign OG, who could command a max contract that starts around $42.6 million a year, anything approaching max cap space is likely off the table this summer. Still, Anunoby's a sensible upgrade for where this team is trying to go. And if nothing else, throw-ins Precious Achiuwa and Malachi Flynn at least bring some untapped potential worth taking a flyer on, especially in the case of Achiuwa. As for the Raptors, this trade was about moving one step closer to a Scottie Barnes-led future. After being paralyzed by indecision for the better parts of 2 seasons, the Raptors had grown woefully stale. Toronto badly needed a breath of fresh air. Enter Quickley. As a fast guard who can create for himself, serve as a pull-up threat, and shoot from deep, Quickley's a perfect fit beside Barnes. Over the last 2 seasons, Quickley's averaged roughly 15 points in less than 28 minutes per game while shooting nearly 52% inside the arc, 38% from deep, and 83% from the free throw line. Among 63 players who've attempted at least 4 pull-up shots per game this year, Quickley's effective field goal percentage of 53.8% ranks 6th. A 41% shooter on catch-and-shoot threes, Quickley's speed also allows him to attack closeouts and get to his floater range, where he's a 75th percentile finisher among combo guards, according to Cleaning the Glass. While not a pure point guard, he's a solid secondary playmaker who takes care of the ball and should thrive playing with a point forward like Barnes. He's also a good on-ball defender at the point of attack. With no star guard in front of him, the 24-year-old should finally be able to spread his wings as a full-time starter. The big question is whether Quickley's production and efficiency can scale up with increased minutes and usage. If it does, we're talking about Tyrese Maxey-like potential with more defensive upside.
He's good.
In turning Anunoby into a young guard who can thrive alongside Barnes for years to come, the Raptors also traded an unrestricted free agent for one of the restricted variety, with Toronto owning the right to match any rival offers for Quickley this summer. Now, for many Canadian fans, the inclusion of Barrett is what made this deal exciting. Given his age and the scoring skills Barrett possesses in a 6'6", 214-pound frame, the 23-year-old still has all-star upside. But the reality is he's been a mostly frustrating player through 5 seasons. Aside from shooting 40% from deep during his sophomore season, Barrett has scored at below-average efficiency from every area of the court in every year of his career. Meanwhile, his playmaking and defense have stagnated or regressed. He does provide more ball handling and self-creation than OG did, but the results have thus far suggested Barrett's not cut out for a primary or even secondary role. And to fit in as something less than that on a good team, think the role fellow Canuck Andrew Wiggins found in Golden State, Barrett would have to suddenly become a good three-point shooter, as Wiggins miraculously did in his 7th season.
Hey, it could happen.
If Barrett can play himself into a role as part of the Raptors' Barnes-led future, or even to a point where he can be flipped for surplus value, then this trade goes from good to a home run for the Raps, who also acquired the likely 31st pick in this year's draft from the Knicks via Detroit. It will also be fascinating to see whether this move changes Toronto's plans for Pascal Siakam, who just weeks ago we were convinced needed to be traded. Does a more sensibly built core, with Quickley replacing Anunoby, mean Siakam and Barnes can better coexist? With one UFA now out of the picture, the Raptors might not feel the same pressure to move Siakam. If they're not blown away by a trade offer and believe they can re-sign the two-time All-Star to a contract they're comfortable with, perhaps the Raps retain Siakam and consider moving him later. In any event, they're unlikely to find a trade as mutually beneficial as the deal they made with the Knicks. Two division rivals, on the court and in the courts, put their differences aside to strike what could prove to be a perfect deal.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.